Linda leaned against the wall and watched her husband trying to make sense of his words. "I'm sorry, Linda, but I'm leaving. There is another woman in my life. She's 4 months pregnant and she's going to give me a son. Let's part peacefully, without arguments and scandals, please," Michael said. He picked up his duffel bag and headed for the exit. Linda felt her heart racing. She wanted to yell at him to stay, but the words were stuck in her throat and she didn't say a word. As the door slammed behind Michael, Linda started to shake and felt cold. She lay down on the couch, wrapped her head in a plaid blanket, and couldn't hold back the tears. 6 years ago, they had first met at a mutual friend's wedding. Relationships began quickly and casually, and 6 months later, Michael has already made Linda a marriage proposal and put a cherished ring on her finger. They decided not to organize a noisy celebration because for them it was most important to their mutual feelings and confidence in a long and happy future together. "I would so love to have a daughter," Linda said with a smile on her lips as she pictured their future daughter. "Well, then that means we'll have at least 2 children. I've always dreamed of having a son to go fishing with, build things in the garage, and play soccer with," Michael answered her. "I agree," Linda supported him affectionately. They had no intention of putting off having children. Both dreamed of filling their home with children's laughter. But as the years passed, their dreams remained dreams. Despite countless doctor visits and many tests that confirmed they were both healthy, the long-awaited pregnancy never came. It happens sometimes. There is no need to despair. "I suggest you try IVF treatment," the doctor suggested during Linda's next visit. Michael gave his consent. However, despite his best efforts, each attempt ended in failure. The tests, preparation, and procedures all took a lot of time and effort, and soon they would be 40 years old. "I feel so powerless. Maybe I'm too old for this," Linda tearfully whispered after another failed IVF attempt. "I can't give you a baby. It's not working out for me. You deserve better. You should divorce me. Find yourself another one, a young one. She can fulfill your dream of having children," Linda sobbed. "Don't be silly. We'll work it out, my love. We'll get through this together," Michael said and held his wife tightly against him, trying to comfort her. That's how they lived. Almost every night Linda dreamed of the baby she held close to her heart. She looked enviously at her friends who had children and at strange women walking with strollers. She noticed her husband's longing glances at the playground when he got out of the car outside the house. Linda could also feel the chasm growing between them, the chilling coldness gradually closing in on their former love. And then one day it happened. It hurt, but Linda kept telling herself, "Let one of us be happy. Let Michael have his long-awaited child. And that's wonderful. That's good." They filed for divorce. Michael moved into the apartment of his new lover, and when he came to pick up the rest of the things, Linda saw her from the window of his house. She was waiting for him by the car, and her rounded belly was visible. What she saw made Linda's eyes fill with tears, and she turned away from the window. "Thank you," Michael said, and sighed heavily. "For what?" Linda asked in surprise. "For understanding and for letting me go without further ado," replied Michael, and lowered his head. "I'm truly happy for you. Go on, she's waiting for you after all," Linda said and smiled. As soon as the door closed behind Michael, Linda couldn't hold back her tears. She dreamed of having a family, and she loved Michael so much. It had cost her a lot of effort to let him go, but there was no other way. He already had another family, and she was alone. She couldn't calm down for a long time. Almost all night Linda cried, and in the morning she could hardly get out of bed. She said to herself, looking at herself in the mirror, her face swollen with tears, "Her life goes on, but alas, without Michael." These words made her throat feel nauseous and her stomach ache. Linda wet a towel and lay down, but the nausea and pain didn't go away. The next day, Linda went to her doctor's appointment for another procedure, which Linda decided not to have. "Linda, you don't look well. Is something wrong?" The doctor became alarmed. "Doctor, Michael and I have separated. I came to tell you that there will be no more procedures. I cried really hard last night after Michael left, so my appearance is appropriate," Linda said and cried again. "It's all sad, of course. But tell me, Linda, don't you feel nauseous?" the doctor asked. "Yes. This morning I felt sick, nauseous and stomach ache. And then I felt better," replied Linda. "I insist that you undergo an ultrasound," said the doctor. Linda agreed. "Linda, I have wonderful news for you. You are pregnant," the doctor announced with a smile as she looked away from the ultrasound monitor. Linda lay there and her heart sank with overwhelming happiness. On her birthday, Linda had received the most precious and long-awaited gift, confirmation of her pregnancy. She was over the moon. She decided not to say anything to Michael, let him be happy in his new family. And now she would have her own little family. A few months later, a phone call from Michael came in the evening. Linda was surprised, but answered. "Linda, I have nowhere else to turn. Please help me with the baby," Michael appealed. "Oh, what about your wife?" Linda asked him. "My wife is gone. The labor started unexpectedly. There were complications. The doctors couldn't save her," Michael explained. "Is the baby okay?" Linda asked anxiously. "He's fine. He was in the incubator. Now he's been discharged and we're home. He cries all the time and I don't know what to do. I can't handle the baby by myself," Michael said in desperation. "Michael, take all the baby's things and come to me. And remember, you're not alone. We can handle it," Linda replied confidently. A short time later, Michael and the baby stood in front of Linda. "I'm so sorry, please. I abandoned you, and you didn't refuse to help me," Michael said and kissed Linda on the cheek. "I never resented you. I always wanted you to be happy," she replied. She took the baby in her arms and began to soothe him. The baby, feeling warm and cared for, fell asleep. Linda, looking fondly at the baby, said, "Michael, the son looks a lot like you. What's his name?" "When my wife was pregnant, we decided we would name him John," Michael replied. "That's a beautiful name," Linda replied. "Then we'll call our daughter Anne." Michael looked at Linda in surprise, only to notice that she had a rounded belly. When you left me, I found out I was pregnant. I didn't say anything to you. I wanted you to be happy," Linda admitted. Michael pulled her against him. They stood in silence for a long time, embraced, by the crib where John was sleeping. At that moment, they believed that they could handle everything together. After all, the most important thing they already had a strong family and boundless love, able to overcome any obstacles and heal the deepest wounds.